Hello and welcome to our Messy Church for June. Who'd have thought that this will be the third Messy Church that we've done online since COVID-19 has started? But here we are again doing Messy Church. You never know, it might not be that long before we're able to gather safely and do craft and maybe even some food one day together again. But this afternoon you may have seen by the advert that we're going to tell the story of how Jesus calms the storm. And we chose this story today because, you know, it does feel a little bit like we're in really stormy times at the moment, and Jesus can really help with that. He really gives us someone to turn to when things aren't going well. So that's what we're going to do today. And of course, we're going to start by making a craft. Now, I want to show you some pictures first of all. This is the picture of the boat. Can you see it on the choppy water? This is the one in our story today. So I'm going to try to model that boat in some things that I found in the house. And that's the important thing, because we don't want to go out buying special things for craft at the moment. We want to stay safe and we don't want to go shopping unless we have to. So this is what I've made. There's our boat, and in the moment I'll show you how it rocks on the water. We're going to attempt to make one of those together now. So I'm just going to turn the camera to the table, and then you'll be able to see hopefully what it is I'm doing as we make them. If you can see my hands, then you can see what we're making. I'll bring our boat a little bit further over. So first of all, I'm going to make some people, and for that I'm just going to cut a strip of white paper. Now, you might have made strips of men or ladies holding hands before, and it's very simple to do, and it's a great way of making some disciples for our boat. Now I'm going to fold it a little bit like a fan. So if I do the folding, and then I think that might be, how many is that? How many have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's have another disciple there. And I'll just cut off that last little bit. Now, can you see what I've got? I've got a folded bit of paper like that. And then what you do is you draw your person just on the front one. But you have to make sure that the feet and the hands are touching the outside. So I'll draw him, and then I'll show you. I say him because back in Jesus's day, certainly fishermen on boats would have been men, and this is who Jesus would have been on the boat with. But also, men are actually much easier to draw when you're trying to join feet together. So there is the shape of my little man, and can you see how the feet and the hands touch the outside? So I just need to cut that out now, but I don't need to cut along the outside of the hands or the feet. So I just remove this little bit around there. Now you'll know I've gone all wrong when all my little men aren't holding hands, but hopefully, because you've seen I've practiced this and it works, that I won't make that mistake, and that my little characters will be joined together. Oh, just need a little bit of a better cut up there. I think there we are. So then we just cut off the bottom there, the bit between the legs and the feet. There we are. One last cut just here, and then you get the fun bit of opening them up. Are you ready? So there's my front one and my next one there. Oh wow, I've got 6 disciples there. Now you can take time making them look a little bit more like people. What I was doing when I was looking at them earlier is I was trying to put different expressions on their faces. I was trying to do some that might look a bit scared, some that might look a little bit sad, maybe some that were happy and laughing because they know that Jesus was already saving them. Can you see? I'm sure you can tell that's the scared one at that end. The one in the middle isn't very happy, and this one, I hope, looks like he's laughing. So I'm sure you can do a much better job, and probably worth colouring in their bodies as well, and giving them some hair so they don't look just like some paper cutout. So there's our little disciples. Right, I'm going to put those to one side for now, and then I'm going to get the boat. Now this was very simple. I was lucky enough to find a paper plate left over for one of my daughter's get-togethers. It's a bit shiny, but you're going to fold it in half, so it doesn't actually matter what colour it is in the middle. It doesn't matter whether it's plain or whether it's red, or you could fold it the other way and then you could have a pretty coloured boat, but I'm going to do it that way because it is a bit shiny. And can you see that? Can you see how it rocks very much like a boat? Now, on that one, I've decorated it to make it look a little bit more boat-like. I'm not going to do that today just because of time, but again, you can make your boat look very boat-like when you decorate it. But what I am going to do is get a sail, because all boats back then would have had sails. They certainly wouldn't have had motors or petrol or anything like that to make them go. They would have only have been able to go in the wind or by rowing when they came into the shore. And I found a bit of pipe cleaner. You could use a straw or a stick. You could use anything really, and it'll depend on how your boat looks, but I'm going to sellotape that to the back of my sail. So I did find it took 2 pieces there to keep it stable. There we are. There's my sail, and sometimes drawing just a line down the middle like that makes it look a little bit more like a mast. So there's my mast. Now this is the only bit that you've got to be a little bit careful with. So it's okay if you're older. I'm thinking, Harrison, I know you're watching. You'll be all right with this, but your sister, you might have to watch. You might have to watch your sister if she's using something sharp. And don't do it over your fingers. Do it over a bit of blue tack or something like that. Or one of your mum's cushions. That would be better than doing it into your fingers. Don't tell mum I said that. Okay, right, that goes inside like that. And I'm just going to secure that again with a little bit more sellotape. There we are. By the way, Harrison, if you're watching, your cakes looked amazing. I would love one. Next time you make some, I'll have to try your cakes. There we are. Right, so now the other thing that happens, can you see it's just starting to slip down, and that didn't happen at the beginning. So again, what you might need to do, because I've been playing with it a little bit, is just secure the bottom of your boat together, but leave a nice good gap like that. Can you see what I've done? I've just put some sellotape there to keep it together and to allow it to rock. So there we are. Now, tricky bit. You need to sellotape your men, or glue. I reckon glue would actually be easier here, but I haven't got any because all my glue is up in church in the messy church cupboard, and at the moment we're not allowed in church, so I haven't been able to go and get it. So there we are. I have put my 6 disciples this time. I've stuck them to the front. As I said, you could decorate them a little bit better. And then we have a boat that looks as though it's on very choppy waters. There. If I get the other one over, because that actually looks a little bit more like a boat. And I did start to put some clothes on my disciples as well, and that looks much more like a boat. And I guess if you pull it all the way over, it would be a really choppy sea. And of course, Jesus is on that boat with the disciples, but he's having a little rest at the moment while all this storm is going on. So shall we hear the story, and then you can see why our boat is so important. So I'm just going to turn you around again so that you can see me. Oh, there you are. I can see you now. That's great. Right then. So our story, there's our boat. What do you think? Does it look? You've put more disciples. You could, yes, you could, Denise. You could put more disciples the other side. Absolutely. You could put some on that side as well, because there should really be 12. So you could put 6 each side, couldn't you? If you wanted to. That'd be good. Yeah, absolutely. There you are. So there's the boat. And I think our boat doesn't look unlike that, really. I don't think that's a bad attempt. But yes, put some more disciples and decorate the other side as well. So let's hear our story today, the story of how Jesus calms the storm. Now, it was a perfect day to begin with. The sky was blue and the lake too. And a gentle breeze whipped the wave tips so that they were white and foamy. And Jesus sat at the side of the lake talking to the people about God. God is your Father, he said. He dresses the flowers in beautiful colours. He makes sure the birds have enough to eat. But you are his sons and his daughters. Don't you think he can clothe and feed you too? So trust him and stop worrying your lives away. When Jesus had finished teaching, he was tired. So he called his closest friends, and together they piled into the boat and set off across the lake for home. Jesus yawned, and he stretched. And then he laid his head down, and to the rhythm of the waves and the rocking of the boat, he fell asleep. It was the perfect end to the perfect day. And then, suddenly, the day was not so perfect. The sky turned black and the lake too, and a wild wind stirred waves up and tall and stormy. The boat rocked right, and the boat rocked left, and the boat rocked up, and the boat rocked down. The boat rocked so hard, in fact, that Jesus' friends were sure that they were all going to drown. But Jesus, he slept right through it, except for the old snuffle or snore. Jesus, his friends called at last. Jesus, wake up, we're all going to drown. So Jesus woke. Then he sat up. Then he rubbed his eyes and he stood up. It was all anyone else could do to stay on their feet, but Jesus stood up, and then, very calmly, he said to the wind, "Quiet now." And he said to the waves, "Settle down." And you know what? They did. Then Jesus turned to his friends and said, "You didn't need to be frightened. You didn't have to worry. All you had to do was trust me. See, everything is calm." And so it was. The sky was blue, the lake too, and the little waves splashed happily at the side of the boat. It was a perfect day again. There, our boat, that rocked from side to side, was on gentle waters again. And sometimes, it is very easy, isn't it, to worry about things, to spend our lives worrying, especially at the moment when we hear things and we're not doing the things that we normally do, like going to school and going to church. And all these things are put on hold because we're worried about what is happening. And I'm sure there's lots of other things that you worry about as well. But what Jesus is saying, is don't worry. Don't worry about things. Don't spend your life worrying. Spend your life living. And if you trust in Jesus, then all you have to do is let Jesus look after you. And that's exactly what he did to the disciples on the boat. He made sure that the storm calmed down and that they didn't let the boat sink in the storm and that the disciples didn't drown. They were all fine and the waters were calm again. And as we move forward, things will get easier again, things will calm down and there will be less to worry about. So let's just trust in Jesus. So I guess you want to sing a song. We always do, don't we? And for those of you who come to Messy Church, you'll know that this is one of my favourite songs. It's Our God is a Great Big God. So I'm going to show you the actions, because if you don't come to Messy Church, then you'll want to know what the actions are. So I'm going to show you. I'm just going to again move my chair out the way. There we go. So we have our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. And we do that 3 times. Our God is a great big God and he holds us in his hands. And then we say what God is greater than. First of all, he's higher than a skyscraper, so we're going to reach up. He's deeper than a submarine. We go down. I'm not going to go all the way down because I won't be able to see you on the screen. Then he's wider than the universe, wider than the whole universe, beyond your wildest dreams. But he knows us and he loves us before the world began. How wonderful to be a part of God's amazing plan. What do you think? You up for that? I'm sure some of you are. If you haven't had your exercise for the day, now's your chance. We'll sing it through twice. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God and he holds us in his hands. Again. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God and he holds us in his hands. He's higher than a skyscraper. He's deeper than a submarine. He's wider than the universe and beyond our wildest dreams. But he knows us and he loves us since before the world began. Are you ready to clap? How wonderful to be a part of God's amazing plan. Again. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God and he holds us in his hands. He's higher than a skyscraper. He's deeper than a submarine. He's wider than the universe and beyond our wildest dreams. But he knows us and he loves us since before the world began. How wonderful to be a part of God's amazing plan. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and He holds us in His hands. There, for those of you who come to Messy Church, you'll know that song well. And for those of you who don't, you'll probably be singing it for the rest of the day now. So let's just pause for a moment and say a prayer to end, and then we'll do a nice big Amen to finish. So let us pray. Creator God, we thank you that Jesus is there for us, especially in times when we worry about things. And there's lots of things we worry about at the moment, God. We worry about our world, about the coronavirus, about our jobs, about our schools, and about our churches. But help us not to worry. Help us to put all our trust in Jesus and let Him take our worries away from us. Amen. Well, it's been great to have you with us today. Thank you so much for joining us. I don't know if we'll be back doing Messy Church in July, but if not, we will join you here on the second Saturday. As always, we always do Messy Church on the second Saturday of every month at 4 o'clock, and we will continue. But also don't forget, we're doing an Open the Book story and a bit of Messy Church on a Monday at 10:30 as well. So especially if you're at home and you're not at school, you can do that at 10:30 or any time you want to. You can go into our Churches in Llanpaidar website or our Messy Church in Llanpaidar Facebook page. And you can have a look at those and join in. And of course, all the crafts that I do should be things that you have around the house. So do have a go. And if you do them, please put your pictures on our Facebook page. It's lovely to see what it is you're doing. See you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone.